This video because my advanced students asked me to. So this video is a video of the trending Victorian corset, and if you want to learn how to make a trending Victorian corset with top boning techniques, keep watching this video. So you just take your basic body measurements. I'm not going to go into details, so I'm going to mark out my lines. First I'll mark out these lines. From the 0 line to 0.1 inch, I mark 6 inches. For the armhole, I'm going to mark round bust divided by 6. Round bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to use roughly 7.5 for the armhole. So for the bust position, I'm using 10.5. Under bust, I'm using 14. Then high waist position, 17. Full length is 5 inches below, and that's 22. Then I'll add an extra half an inch as hem allowance for the base. So I'm going to come to the center and also do the same. So this is not going to take time. So we establish our lines. This is our shoulder line, chest, armhole, bust position, under bust, high waist, full length, and of course we have our hemline. So we're going to start marking out our measurements for the front. As usual, I'm using 2.5 inches as my standard measurement for the front neck. 2.5. You choose your neck depth. I'm not really interested in having a net or a yoke on top, so I'm just going to mark anything I want. Just mark it around here. Then you have the shoulder measurement. So we'll have a shoulder divided by 2, so that's about 7 inches. You connect. We're not doing any shoulder, that's in here. So you get to the armhole, 6.5, and you go ahead to connect. Then on the armhole, you still mark on the, this is the chest line, this is the armhole. On the armhole, you still mark 6.5. Then you mark the round bust divided by 4, which for me is 34 inches divided by 4, that's 8.5. So we'll mark it like that. So we come here and still mark 8.5, and we go ahead to connect. So we're going to go ahead to mark our darts. We're going to mark our darts position. Half of our darts position for me is 3.5, 3.5, 3.5. So when you're done marking it, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to do your under bust shaping and high waist shaping. So for the under bust shaping, we go with 2 and 4 for this particular bust range. So I'm not like I told you earlier, I'm not going into details. I'm not going into details on the under bust shaping. Sorry, I made a bit of a mistake. At the back, that's where I made the mistake. The high waist we're using at the back is different from the high waist we're using in front. The back high waist is going to be 2 inches higher than that of the, smaller than that of the front. Like if we have 17 in front, we're going to have 2 inches shorter at the back. So that means the back legs and all of that will also be 2 inches shorter than that of the front. So we don't need this. So we're going to have 5 inches below, 5.5, 5 inches, 5.5. So the back, my dear, will be shorter than the front. So we're going to connect it. I don't need these ones, I don't need them. So that's the mistake I made, and I'm correcting it now. Please make the alterations on your pattern. That's why it's important that you use a pencil to do yours. I didn't use a pencil because I needed you to see this video very clearly. So basically I want this to connect to this point. So from this place I'm going to measure like half an inch. From the center I'm measuring like half an inch. We're using a slanty pattern for this. So you're also going, at this point now, you still go ahead to measure the 0, and I use a total of 6 centimeters. So you go ahead to measure your 6 centimeters. So when you measure your 6 centimeters, you connect it to this point. So we start making some small alterations. We're making small alterations. Like this one is actually not compulsory really, but it kind of helps. So what we'll do is that we'll go inside by 0.25. Blend. So you blend it. Then you come outside by 0.25 here. Go inside by 0.25 to pay up for this one that you've already taken inside. Then you connect it. You can use a French curve actually. It's easier using a French curve for the connection. So you do that so that you can have some kind of curve around there. So next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to measure the round high waist divided by 4. For this particular person, I have a round high waist of 30. So okay, let's say 29 divided by 4, or 30 divided by 4, we'll have 7.5. 30 divided by 29 should be 7.25. So we should, so for here, for this place now, we have high waist divided by 4. High waist divided by 4 will have 7.25. Then of course you pay up for the 6 centimeters. So you pay for the 6 centimeters that you cut off from here. So pay for the 6 centimeters. Then you still come to the full length line. We're using, for you kind of have an extension like where you mark your hip line so that you can be able to get the actual full length measurement. So for the hip line I'm using around 11. So if I was to connect this now to the 11, I'm to do 11 plus 6 centimeters. That's the 6 that was removed here. Maybe we'll take it down to the 11. So you should be having something in this range. So it should be something around here. I actually didn't mark it because I didn't do the extension. I actually didn't do the marking because I didn't do the extension. So you just go ahead and connect it. So now this is what we are going to do. We're going to go ahead to come down from the bust position. From bust position you come down by 2 inches. That shortage that we had at the back, you come down by 2 inches from the bust position. 2 inches. You connect it to the nipple point. So this is our bust dart. This is our under bust and high waist dart. Then I'll leave this place now. The front is almost ready. I'm going to leave this point and then I'll go over to the back. So now that I'm going over to the back, I'll just have to, I'm not marking any zip allowance. I don't have business with zip allowance. Let me just do a neck width of 3 inches. Let me work with the neck width of 3 inches. I'll work with the neck width of 3 inches. Still mark the same shoulder. I'll still mark the same shoulder. 7. So they say it's 3 inches. So let's say we'll have a shoulder of 7. We'll still work with 7. Connect. Then we'll have our 7 here. Connect. Drag it down to the armhole. Mark your round bust divided by 4. That's 8.5. Connect with your curve. Then on the bust position itself, you still mark your 8.5 and you do your connection. Then on the high waist now, you go ahead to mark high waist, round high waist divided by 4. So that's 7.2. We're adding an extra 1 inch for that because we're using a dart on the high waist. Now if you notice, by the time I connect it, you can see that the front waistline seems to be a little deeper than the back waistline. Okay, so we're going to do something to remedy that, right? So what we do now is that we still keep dealing with this. So this is the full length, so the hip line should be somewhere around here. So if we're marking the hip line is usually about 5 inches below the lowest line of the full length line. So the round hip I'm using is around 11. So you will up 11 and take it up to connect it to, let's say, this point. You take it up to connect it, so you now get the exact position of the high waist. The reason is because most times by the time of the full length, the exact measurement around the full length waistline. The reason is because most times by the time you're done making the blouse and you want to measure the length of that full length area, you might not be able to get it. So to avoid having those issues, that's why we use the hip line, the hip position, to determine the actual measurements, and it kind of helps to have a closer accuracy. So I'm going to go ahead to mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2, 3.5 and 3.5, and you go ahead to connect. In case you've not watched any of my videos before, my name is Igwe Obonna. I'm the creative director of EREX Academy of Fashion, a fashion outfit based in Enugu, southeastern Nigeria. So you can subscribe to my channel and like this video. Share this video if you're watching it on YouTube. But if you're not watching it on YouTube, don't share. Please. So I'm just connecting my darts. This is my back darts. So I just connected the back darts, and I want to do a waist cincher effect. If you notice, we didn't take anything away from the high waist measurement. So let me call here C and D. I'm going to find the middle of C and D somewhere around here. Then I'm going to draw a line there. I'm going to use it as it does. I want it to be straight. I'll go ahead and make it straight. Okay, let me just go ahead and make this one straight, and it's going to help. So I'll mark my darts. I'll mark 1/2 inch to the left, 1/2 inch to the right. Then I'll connect like so. My videos are very, very detailed. If you can calm down, like you need to calm down and watch the videos gradually, you would get everything you need, trust me. So this is just about it for the back. I can say that I want this back to be a little deeper, but if it's for a plus size person that has all this love grip at the center of their back, you can make it a little higher so that it will cover the love grip. So plus size, slim. So the depth, slim, plus size. Then I don't want to add the sewing allowance yet. So for the back panel, we can mark 1.75 inches. 1.75 inches. The removable back panel, the one that we sew differently. So CB panel, center back, side back 1, side back 2. Then we can now decide that we'll go over to the front. Now let's go over to the front. We're going to do the overbust cinching. I want to do my overbust cinching at the chest line. So for my overbust cinching, I'll just drag this up here. I'll drag this up here. I can now decide that on the chest line now, I can decide to mark my darts of, I can decide to mark 0.75 inches to the left, 0.75 inches to the right. It's just a dart that I'm marking for the overbust tightening. So you go ahead to connect it here and go ahead to connect it here. So I was telling you something about this waistline going in and this one not going in. So to avoid that going in effect, to have a contrast and all that, we rather go in for this front, because this front came out a little too much. We push it in so that we can have a waist cincher effect. We push it in by 1 inch. Then before we do that, before we go ahead to do that, I want to cut off this area because there are some alterations that I want to make here. There are alterations that I really want to make here. Then for the alterations that I want to make, I'm going to need to cut this side open. For now, I need to cut this area open. I'll cut here open, then I'll also cut the top open. Of course, you're going to need your masking tape for this task. Your masking tape or your gum. So when I cut it open, it just to enable me to close it up very well if I want that. So but before I close up this particular one, I want to show you something. I want to be able to actually close up this one. You need to close the overbust tightening first, so that you can be able to mark out whatever shape of neckline you want. So this is my armhole at 7.5. I can try to come down a little deeper, maybe make it 9.5, take it up, take it up. The rule is draw what you see when you get to neckline. So I'm not going to go into more depth explaining necklines to you. This is the shape that I want for my neckline. That's the upper shape. So I can close this off with a masking tape. This is the new neckline shape. So let me just cut it off with the scissors even before I go ahead with the other things. I want you to see it live before I eventually close up the other areas. So I wanted to cut this one off, so that by the time we're done, we can have a masking tape. We use a masking tape to close this place up, so that you can see the look finally. But for now, I don't need to close. I don't want to close it up for now. I'm going to use this upper area to close up this one down. I'm going to use it to close this one down. Then I'm going to use. I'm going to blend the armhole back to where it came from. Okay, so since I need to still connect to this waistline because I've not altered this waistline. Since I'll need to connect to the waistline, I'm going to go ahead to connect this one directly. I don't want to start doing cutting and blending, so I'll connect it to this one, blend it back to this particular measurement. Of course, we don't need this one again, we don't need this one again, so this place becomes open. And this is actually a dart. Remember that our 0.75 inches dart, we don't need it. Remember, we don't need it. So I'll get my masking tape and then use the masking tape to close up some things that I need to close up. Then before we go ahead with the whole masking tape thing, let me say we have the hip extend. Let's say we extend this one. Let's say we extended this one now to get to this point. Then like I want a dramatic shape. Let's deal with the dramatic shapes first. So we'll close up the dart area. Whatever shape you want to draw in, make sure that you close up your dart before you draw in your shape. That's the only way you're going to get it. Now you can see that this place is disjointed. This place now is disjointed. It's not looking well blended anymore. So assuming I still want to maintain that same line, I go with that line. Let me take it up a bit and bring it down. Let me just take it up a little bit, then bring it down to this exact point. Let's bring it down to this exact point, and this is what I actually want. Let's say we now go ahead and look at 0.5. That's like our sewing allowance. Let me actually cut it because I like to do a live cutting so that you can actually see what we have. So you can actually see what we are going for before any other thing. So close this place up, and we can add our sewing allowance later. So you can see how we've blended here perfectly well. So So I'll now cut over, then use this place and cut this one. So let me get my masking tape. So I have my masking tape now. I'm going to blend this together. So that's it for this one. So I'm going to now mark, now that I've closed here up, I can now comfortably mark my dart. So I can call here A, I can call here B. So I'll find the middle of A and B, say 2 inches. Then connect it. Then after connecting it, I'm going to mark 1/2 inch to the left and 1/2 inch to the right. So this is the side that's going to give the waist cincher effect now. So now I'm going to go ahead to cut off this side piece. This is our side front. So let me label it. So this is our center front. This is fold. This is going to be on a fold. You're going to add your 0.5 here. You're going to add your 0.5, 0.5. You're going to add your 0.5. You're also going to this 0.5. Like that. So you just add 0.5 to the area. So this is our side front 2, side front 1, then center front. Okay, so I hope you're following. So we'll just go ahead. I'll cut out this side front 1 and also side front 2. So I'm going to blend in here because I don't want it to be too sharp. I don't want it to be too pointy. So I'm going to blend. So I'm eliminating the darts. Whatever is a dart for this, we're going to go ahead to eliminate it. So I'm going to cut out the shape for this side piece. Remember, I've not added any sewing allowance on the side. For now, I will not add it until I'm done with the front. So however it is you want to add yours, go ahead and add it. So here it is. Then I'm going to take this now to the front, to the back, because the back, this front is the one that is going to define the back very well. So let's take it to this place. So you're measuring from the high waist. You're measuring from the high waist to the armhole area. So measure from high waist to the armhole area. Then you blend it. For mine, I'm having a good blend. There's really nothing much to add or remove from the armhole area. So what I'm going to do is that I'll just check. In fact, it rhymes, so there's nothing to remove or add. So I'm going to take this one now back, the hip area. Now I'm going to take, to get my actual hip curve, I'm going to bend this one. Can you see how I bend it? You measure the up, you now have to bend the down to check and get what you actually need to get. So this is actually where I'm going to have to do the alteration. So I'll just do my alterations here. I'm going to blend, then whatever it is I want to do here now, I'm going to go ahead to do it. If I want to have exactly the same shape here, I'll still go ahead and have the same shape here. Whatever it is you want to do, you are at liberty to do it. So I'll just do this like this, so that by the time you're joining your front to your back, it's actually going to blend perfectly well. So this is just about it. And you want to cut it and close up this dart so that I can reblend and recut. So let's see. Let me say I'm going to cut here because I don't want to shorten my hem. Close up, cut. So I can close up and cut. can blend it back in. I want to add my sewing allowance actually, so that I don't have to start bothering myself about adding the sewing allowance later after cutting it. So now that I've gotten the shape that I want, I'm going to go ahead to add my sewing allowance of 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, then add all the way. So this is it, and you can just add added our sewing allowance. So we just cut through. There's no hard and fast rule, it's just basic cutting. So if you're watching this video, you're definitely not a beginner, like a core beginner pattern maker. So I'm going to label it. I always label with my arrows pointing upwards, arrows pointing upwards. Then of course I always label my 0.5 inches sewing allowance, 0.5 inches, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and yes, of course I'm going to call here a fold, and I'm going to also label here with 0.5 inches, 0.5 inches, and we're going to go ahead to cut it into tiny little pieces. I always take pictures of my patterns while drafting the final stage and all of that, so that by the time I'm joining, if I have any issues with the pattern, if I have any issues with the fabric, I can always look at the pattern to know how it should actually be. It helps me a whole lot, so I recommend that you do that. So you can click on the link in the description to buy any of my pattern making books. Pattern making for the shapely African woman, advanced pattern mastery for the African woman. They are both available on Amazon. Pattern making for the shapely African woman is available in Nigeria in hard copy, but it's not. But the other one, advanced pattern mastery, is only available in soft copy in Nigeria. So this is what the back looks like, and this is what the front is going to look like by the time we're eventually done. Of course, we're going to add sewing allowance to this area. We'll add plus 1 inch sewing allowance to this area. So I'm going to add it off cam. In fact, you don't even need to see that. You already know how I added sewing allowance here, so you go ahead and add that. You don't really need to see that part. So we go ahead and eliminate the dots. So this whole should be darted and all of that and all of that. It usually comes with that elimination. So we eliminate our dots so that we can have that perfectly fitted look that we want. Then of course we said we're going to cut this into pieces. So we go ahead and cut it into pieces. I've not added my arrows. My arrows are very important to me, so that I'll be able to get my right direction. So if you're new to my channel, that's if you're watching this on YouTube, just click on the subscribe button, like this video and share.